Hey there guys, today I'm going to be doing a dem for modeling a pet cage housing. So let me jump onto that and I'll show you a little sketch that the student's done to give me a little bit of guidance. So they've done this. They put in some dimensions here. I'm not sure if they're actually to the size of the cage that they want to fit around. So the idea is that the cage of the pet goes in here, and this kind of is a bit of a housing to make it look a bit nicer in its environment, whether it's indoors or outdoors or whatever. So what we're going to be doing with this is designing this all as separate components that we can then go in and manufacture how we want to. So there might be certain parts we want to put through the CNC, or some parts we want to laser cut, some parts we want to make a template out of. So it's really important that when you're making these complex designs that you build it so you can actually use your design work to guide your fabrication work. So we'll jump into it and we're going to go straight into Fusion and build it all up from scratch. All right, so yeah, first things first, I'll be going in and making that base platform. So here I can see it is 18 centimeters by 28 centimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and make that sketch. So I'm going to do a new sketch on the base here and go. So 180 on the side and 280 on the front. And I'll finish that sketch. I'll make this a new component. Actually, what I'll do, I'll backtrack and I'll make a new component here, and this will be base. Okay, so what I did was just drag this back. I'll do that sketch again. So it's important that when you're component modeling that everything's kind of separate. So I'm going to turn on my origin again. Over here. When you're doing component modeling, it's important that you use the origin of the component and not the origin of the model, because that will let you move your components around if you need to. So here, 180, 280, done. Okay, so I'll finish that sketch. And for the moment, I'm going to make this out of 19 millimeter ply. Okay, so I'll extrude that by 19. It's actually a little bit too much, so I might go 12, which is the next standard size down. So that's 12 millimeter pine right there. And if I wanted to, I could go in as I'll unground that so I can move that around. As I go through, I can add materials that I actually want to model my my design in. So if I go down to wood and look for pine, so radiata pine is probably the most likely one that we're going to use. And I'll just put that on there and it'll just look like the material that I want to model from. But yeah, the sizing of this is probably a bit too small to use in real life, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so that is my base board. So when I want to use this for manufacturing, I can use these exact dimensions to CNC or laser cut or whatever I want to do. So I'll collapse that. And so the next part that I'm going to model is these bits on the side here that kind of go up and down. So I will go a new component and I'll just make it side. If I need to rename it, I'll rename it later. And I'll unground that so I can move it around. And what I'll do here, see how this component here is a subcomponent of the base. I just want all my components to be on the same level, so I'll just drag it back up to here if I can. Make that active, drag that. Can I do that? Will it let me? All right, I'll just delete that component. So I want this to be active, and I'll make a new component here. Great. So you can see how they're on the same level now. Just make it a bit easier for me to organize. So here, I'm going to make these side sections. So I've got two kind of sticks coming up. So to do that, I'll need to start. Got my origin here. I'll sketch onto here. And then when I do the extrudes, I'll actually do an offset. So do this here. And I'll see if I can do it as a standard measurement. Oh, but these aren't actually, they're not the standard sizes. So I'll do this, so 20 by 20. I'll go finish sketch. And what I'm going to do here is go extrude, but when I extrude it, I'll go 2 sides. So I'll bring this down as much as it seems I need to, and I'll bring this up in line with my image as well. Okay. All right, so this is all going to be one component on the side. That looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to copy this body out and keep it all on the same component. I'll do a join later when I've got everything I need. So I'll go move copy with that body selected, and then I'll go create copy, and then I'll just drag this out and make another copy of it, and I'll put it into a similar position. There's good. And I'll go OK. So these 2 bodies are now, in that component. So now what the designer wants here is a little kind of decorative part that goes in between. So what I should really do is design something that will be, in the manner that it will be fabricated. So if I go from here and I make something that goes along here, so 10 by whatever that is, 10 by 170. I can change that thickness down later if I want to, but because this isn't really in proportion in terms of dimensions, I'll just kind of make it in a way that looks right. So here what I would do is then finish that sketch, and then within this component I would make another body. So I'll go down here like this, bring that down. A little bit of a gap there, but we'll leave that for now. So here, instead of cut, I'm just going to go new body. Okay, so that's going to be just pre-existing body that goes through. See here, I don't actually have that part selected, so I'm going to hit Control and make that part selected, so I can select or deselect any parts that I want. And these are just going to make 2 intersecting bodies, or 3 intersecting bodies. So I've got this body here, and this body here. So what I can do now is run a cut between these bodies. So I go to Combine, select Cut. The target body I want to cut is that. The tool body is this. And I want to keep my tools. I'll go OK. And I'll do the same over here. Combine. I want to cut that body, use that body to cut it, keep the tools and go OK. So now I've got this actually cut out the way I want it to be cut out. So that will come out in my planning as well. All right. There's some little like decorative elements here, but what I'll do is just into this body, I'll add a sketch, and these disappear, and I'll do an offset of this outside part here and just bring that in as much as seems correct. So maybe 15, sorry, negative 15, negative 10 looks pretty good. See how that checks out against my looks pretty good. And then what I'll do is just extrude this through. So I'll go finish sketch, extrude, distance to object, other side there. Cool, and that'll just make that little hole there for me. Okay, so now I've got my 3 components in this side, and if I wanted to, I could just copy that out. I might even do that now. So I've got my base component here, I've got my side component here. I might go through and hit shortcut A and give that all material, because at the moment everything is going to be Pine. All right, so I'll go through and copy this out. So I'll go here to this component, side, move copy, create copy. So here it's saying, give me a warning saying this component can't be active. So what I need to do is go back here and activate that if I want to copy it. So go back and activate the whole thing, move copy, hit create copy, and then move this into the correct position. When you do things in multiples of 10, it always makes for easier fitting design. So there we go. Side 1 and side 2 are done. Okay, and now in this back part here, I'm going to make another kind of backing on this. So I'll go new component. I'll just call that backing, and that will go onto here. Create sketch, and I'll do it in similar fashion to what I've done here. I might make it a bit thinner because I don't want to actually impact on that rebate there, so I might make this out of 6 mil or something like that. I'll bring this out one little bit further because I know I have 6mm plywood. Cool, that's 6. And I want to make sure I go 3mm in over here, so 1, 2, and 3. Cool. I'll finish that sketch. This can just be a solid component, and I'll make sure I run the cuts after I'm done with it. So I'll go here, hit extrude, go all the way down to the bottom here, like I've done with these other ones. Cool, that's on the same level. And I'll go OK. So that part hasn't come through properly, so I need to go and edit this feature. So see how it's not selected? I need to make sure that's in and selected, and that's good. Cool. All right, and now I'm going to use this to cut out this part here. So what I've actually realized, so there'll be a problem that'll come up, and I'll show you what that problem is. So I'll go combine, and I want to cut out, go back to the whole thing, I'll go combine. I want to cut out this target body and use that to do it. And I want to keep my tools, but see how this is being reflected over here, because it's a component copy, and I've moved it to the right, it's going on the wrong side. So I'll just go OK on that for now, but to fix it, what I need to do is this. I actually need to go back in time to when I've made that component. So I'm going to drag back to when we just had this here. And I'm going to go, instead of move component, I'm going to mirror the component because I want that to be reflected on the inside. So here, components, that component, I'm going to mirror that over that plane. This is yet another reason why it's really important to model around the origin. So make sure that I'm on the origin component that I'm using. Good. Okay, and that's done. So that's a mirror of a component. You'll see side mirror 1. When I go back here, I'll probably have 2 components kind of competing for space. So if I go in and delete that, sketch 1 doesn't know what to do, so I'll go manage. So it's used the top of that one as a reference, and then I've deleted it, and it's gone, where's that sketch reference gone? And I've just remapped it with that linking feature there. Okay, we'll see if it's still a problem. View 1, failures. Oh, I'll go edit again. Look, that should be fine. Finish sketch. I can keep going like that. If it causes problems later on, then I'll fix it then. So let's see what it's doing here. Feature. So let's see if the backing, okay, so it's cut out of that one, but not this one. So let's go here. Okay, just going back and trying to fix things. I'll just pause it for a sec while I'm fixing this up. Okay, so we're back, and pretty much what I had to do was just, go back and do that last step again. So just for your benefit, I'll go and re-demonstrate that. So here I've got my drawing. I want to make sure this is selected as well, and I want to move this down, but I also want to make sure that I'm in the right component. So drag that into backing, make that the active component. Cool, now I'm ready. Because when you make all these bodies, it's really important that you do component modeling properly. So yeah, that down, extrude that. 80, it's a new body, fantastic. I'll make this pine as well. All right, now I'll go back and run the cuts between the different bodies that I want to do. So here I'll go combine. Target body is this, tool body is that. Keep the tools and go OK. And now when I remove the backing, what I should be seeing is this cutting out over here too. But maybe because it's a mirror, it doesn't work the same way, but that's okay. So I'll just do the same process again. Target body is that, tool body is this. Keep the tools and go OK. All right. So at the back there, I can also see that this is kind of intersecting. So see this is kind of jutting into the backing piece I have there. That's actually fine. That'll tell me that I need to do a certain process when I'm manufacturing. So what I'll need to do here is run a cut between this and this. So this will be kind of like a rebate. And I'll show you what a rebate join looks like in a second. So here I'll go cut. Target body is this, tool body is that. Okay, and I'll keep all the tools. And what I'll be left with when I remove the base is that little rebate there, so it can all fit. So the choice is up to you whether you want to adjust the design or incorporate this part of the design into your own. You could move that backing plate back out to be here, or whatever you want to do, or make that original base sketch a bit smaller. So yeah, completely up to you. But we're going okay so far on the design. We'll just go and check back in against the original design there. So I've got all of this bottom part done. Now we're going to move on to these parts here. All right, so we're going to make a new component and we're going to do these uprights. I mean, we could even include them as a part of these components here, the side components. They could have, separate bodies and things like that. There's a number of things I could do. I could 3D print a little cap and then have a body sticking out of that. That could be all right. Because shaping that bit of timber might be difficult. The other thing I can also do is do a rounded piece. So I could put a piece of timber on the lathe and make some rounded pieces to make them a bit more decorative. That would be pretty cool. So what I might do here is just model a little cap that goes from square to round. So I'll put this under, I'll make this its own component. So I'll go new component, and I'll call this a dowel adapter, I guess. I'll think of a better name later if I need to. So dowel adapter is going to be here. It's going to go onto that that component there. So I'll do a sketch, and I'll offset that. Probably 2 millimeters should be enough. Go okay like that. And then I just want a straight line from here to here would be good. I'll go and just use my line tool and do that. And I can trim out these 3 lines. Cool. So what I can do here, so I'm going to have a little cap that goes down over the top here, and then I'll have another part that goes up and then has a hole that I can use for my dowel. So to do that, I'll finish the sketch, I'll select the areas I want to extrude down. Because it's a component, I can just extrude it down as a body and not worry about it too much. I just have to decide on how far down it needs to go. So 5 millimeters, maybe 6 or 7, just for a bit of, you know. I mean, 10 could be good. We'll see what that looks like. Yeah, 10 could be all right. I'll leave it at that for now. And then on this part here, I'm going to draw a bit like a little circle that's going to come out. So I'll go sketch onto that. And I'll just draw a cylinder at the center here. And I'll draw 2 actually, so this will be 12 mils, and then I'll draw another one a bit further out. 18 mils, so that makes it, yep, that's good. So 3 millimeter thick walls on each side. I'll go finish sketch. And then I'll just bring this up a little bit. 5, 6, 7 mils, something like that. 6 mils looks good. All right, so what I'm going to do here is get rid of this side. I'll check the bodies that I have. Cool, that's all joined. So what I might do here is put on a chamfer or a fillet around this just to add strength, make it look a bit smooth. So a 3 millimeter chamfer is fine. I'll do that. And then what I might even do here is add a fillet around the sides. Because this is going to be printed vertically, I don't have to worry about chamfers for that area there. So I'll go fillet, 3 mil, and then select all these sides. Okie doke. So that's one thing I've got there. Now this will create a hole going all the way through. I've got to ask myself, do I want that? So it would be probably wise to build a wall here, because when I've got my side going, see how this side component here, it's going all the way up to the top. So there's actually no volume, there's nothing there to support it. So I could just make that clear all the way through. It would probably be easier to print actually. Yeah, so I'll do that. So it'll come out here, won't it? So what do I need to do? So I'll backtrack in this component and I'll build a little wall before I put this in. So I'll go here, I'll go back to here. I'll go roll timeline marker here, and then I'll take this part of my body and I'll just go push pull and give it 2 mils. Okay, then I'll go back, and that has all regenerated, which is really good. So it's just detected the top surface there. Fantastic. All right, so I'll leave it at that for now. So this will be my adapter between the top of the timber and the rounded parts that I have going up. There might be some strength issues and things like that, but I can iron that out after I do a little bit of testing. So let's get this this dowel adapter copied out and cut first and then copied out. So I'm going to go here. I'll go the cut function again. The target body will be this. The tool body will be that. And you can see what it's going to do. It will also be, tool body will also be this. I'm going to keep all my tools. Cool. And now when that's done, when I get rid of this side component here and have a look back at it again, it's going to just slip over nicely over all my, my timber parts. One thing I will need to do though, as a part of my practice, I need to give this extra slack, so I can't have joints that are too tight. So you've got to navigate around, select all those interior surfaces so it'll actually fit. All right, and generally I subtract negative 0.15 millimeters, just so things will fit nice and snug. Okay, so that component's done. Now I can mirror that over here, and then I'll mirror those two components over this side as well. So I'll make my side come back, I'll go dowel adapter, and I'll go create mirror. That component, the mirror plane will be this. Okay. so that's one of them done, a mirror one. Do another mirror of these components as well. So mirror components, and I'll select that component too. That will be our mirror plane. We'll go OK. So when I go back to here, I should see that kind of coming together like that. Good. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is make a component for this rounded part here. All right, so I've got to create a new component on this part here and then model it as a round. So it'll have to be, what's the word? Lathed. It'll have to go in the wood lathe and be cut like that, or it could go on a CNC as well. You could also 3D print it if this is just like an early model that you want to do. So, all right, we'll get into it. What I should do here, I need to get a sketch plane in the middle of here somehow. So to do that, I need to make a new component. And I'll go lathe poles, I guess. It's a terrible name, but whatever. Okay, so I'll go here, and I need to have a plane that sits in the middle of this, of that kind of cylinder there. So I'll see if there's any construction options. Plane along path, offset plane, plane at angle, tangent plane, a mid plane, maybe. So if I go construct mid plane, and I want a plane between here and here. There we go. So I'm setting that reference there, plane between those two things. I could also do these other two sides here, and that's the plane that I need to sketch onto. Great. So lathed plane, lathe poles will go. I'm just noting that I'm not actually doing this around the origin here, which is something I don't usually like to do, but we'll just see how this works. So I go into construction, add that plane, and I'm going to go here. So what I want to do is reference this cylinder if I can. So I'm going to go shortcut P. I can't actually grab the edge of that cylinder, which is okay. So I'll reference the top and bottom. And this was a 12mm diameter hole. So what I want to do here is actually in half profile model the pole that's going to come out of the top here. Looking at this, it's probably about the same length as this section. So this section and this section will be about the same length. This one will probably be a little bit shorter. So I'll get my vertical first. Okay, so 88. It's fine. I could make that just 90. Okay, so when you're doing a revolve component, you want to make sure that you're doing it in half profile because you're going to revolve it all the way around this. Yeah, I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go all the way down. I want to go to the edge of this, so I'm not going to have that anymore. Get rid of this. I'm going to go from here 6mm out, and then sometimes your line tool can misbehave a little bit, so you'll see it's drawn like an extra line there. So I'm going to attach it to here. Go straight up there and then across to here. So it's blue shaded area, that's nice. Now what I can do here is add in my spline of the kind of elements that I want. So here, come out. here. And then I might add in some little circles, 2mm each. I'll do like 3 little bands. Okay, and then I'll do another spline. Up to here. That's fine, I'll adjust this a bit later, and I'll do my, I'm using the 2-point circle for this, so 2 mils. Then another, and I'll leave that bare at the top because that has to fit into something. And now what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll trim out the lines that I don't want as a part of this. So I just want one profile line here. Sometimes you'll need to adjust your handles. So this one here, I'll just adjust this handle so it's not jutting into everything. I'll just leave it like that. Then go and keep trimming. So if I wanted to, I could go and laser cut a template for this based on this sketch. I could go and export this as a DXF and then use that as my template for checking that my lathing work is correct. So I'll go finish sketch. What I want to do here is probably build in a little bit of slack. So if I move or do a line just along here, I'll do that later, I think. I'll just get the model done for now. So here is where I'm going to be doing the revolve. I've got this sketch section, and I'm going to navigate so I can get that sketch section as well. And then what I'm going to do is hit this one here, revolve, and it is going to go around that central axis that I've drawn, and it's going to look like that. Lathe poles. So all done there. I could make this a painted surface, or I could just leave it like that. That'll look pretty nice. So over here, I'll go to copy this component. So I'll go here, hit shortcut M, component move, and I'll go create copy. I'm getting that active component error again, so I'll go here, lathe poles, hotkey M, create copy, and I'll move this out. Hopefully it fits in nicely. Yep, good. So I'll go there. Then I'll go copy this one out again. Create copy. Great. And I'll do this one again. I could just move this one down, but I just want it to be lathe poles 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'll go out to here. Whoops, haven't done my copy. Create copy, move it to here, and then move it down. Great. Okay, so I've got all these origins sitting on, so I'll turn those off. So you'll see here when I have this origin turned on, you'll see there's 4 new origins. That's what happens when you don't model around the origin. You get all these random origins kind of popping up. So nothing to worry about. Because they're all copied components, whatever I do to one will be reflected in the others. Okay, so there's also a component origin there. Let's go through and turn that off too. Go. That's the side component. Cool, turn that off. All right. So now all of this will definitely fit together. I'll need to probably give this part here a little bit of slack. So you could do that by, even if you want to 3D print these, you could do that. But yeah, so the next thing to do is the top sections here. So according to the design, they look like miters. So miters are 45-degree joins. But the problem here is that we have this dowel that needs to go into whatever we have going above. So what I might do for now is make a new component and just sit it on top of this, and then I'll make an adapter kind of similar to what I've done here. So, all right, going through that now, I'll go new component, and I'll go roof base frame. Okay, so roof base frames here, and I'm just going to do a sketch on top of that surface because that's at the right height for me. So I'll go sketch, and then I want to create a square. I'll go out to here. So I could go 220 by 340, or I could go another 20 millimeters out. I'll go 10 just to stick in line with what the drawing's doing. And then I'll do another square and I'll come 10 millimeters in from what I have here. So if I went there, then the backs would be thinner than the sides, so I'll keep it all consistent. So I could go either here or even here. I'll go, I won't go finish sketch just yet. What I'll do is I'll draw in my rebates so I can actually extrude these. Sorry, not rebates, my miters. They're just a 45-degree cut. And all I'm doing to get this accurate is using the grid system. So to do that, I need to make sure that snap to grid is done. So if you're having trouble with that, just make sure that snap to grid is selected. So now what I should have is 4 separate areas. Even though I have this area in the middle, I'm not going to need that. But then I'll take this and extrude those pieces up to what they should be. So I'll finish that sketch. Base frame will be made up of these 4 blocks. So I'll extrude that up by 12. Go OK. So notice that the sketch has disappeared. So all I need to do is go back to my sketches and make sure that it's actually there still. So go up, new body, 12. Want to watch out for this. If it changes to join, I want to change it back to new body. Okay, go OK. Here as well. Oh, so that's picked up that part there. That's fine. So I'll go back and edit this, edit that feature, and just include that in the extrude. Easy. And I'll make sure I do the same here. That's where I put my original sketch. So yeah, it's going to be segmented. Up here, 12 again. I change it from join to new body. And then same over here. No, I don't want that. Go OK, and then I'll do the same process again here. Put it up by 12 and go new body. All right, so I've got 4 separate bodies here. I'll go through and go physical material and put in pine for all of that. Ooh. All right, let's have a look. All right, so it's starting to look like what we want it to look like here. There's a good base for us to start, doing those things that we need to do to make that curved rooftop. So, okay, so I'm going to continue on here with the demonstration that I had before. A couple of little things I've done here is I've built in, where is it, backing? I'll put in that little rebate as well and sized it properly like I had before. So you should have 2 different models. So you have this one that has 1 rebate and this one that has 1 and 2. Yeah. Okay, so what are we doing next? We need to move on to this section. So we could make a little, like a bracket for it, I guess, similar to this one. And then you can design it to have whatever, aesthetic details you want on it as well. So I'll just do 1 and then we should be able to copy that out in different ways. So we'll have to make it go around here, measure out this area, so between here and this selection, so I go measure between here and here, that's 6 mil, so yeah, I could make that a 5 mil depth bracket, good. So go here. Right, so I'll just model something on the underneath here and I'll get rid of this, this pole. So I'll go here, new component. So upper dowel adapter we'll call it, and go OK. We'll add a new sketch to here. Yep. Just under here is where I want to do it. So I'm going to use projection to get the dimensions of the thing that I want to attach to. So hit hotkey P, and then I'll make a little square thing that comes out here. So I'll go look at. I'm just got to make sure I'm oriented in the right way. There we go. I'm just going to get my bearings. So that's like that, and I am, sculpting here. Cool. So what I might do is get rid of the bottom. So I'll go base, side, get rid of all those, and I'll just focus on looking at that. And I'll put the backing in so I know what the back is. Cool. So what I'm doing is a little square here. There's 1, 2 mils. I'll go there. 1, 2 mils out from the side. And let's see how. 34 mil. Cool. So I can grab all that stuff and extrude that out. I'll use that twice. So first thing I'll do is finish the sketch and extrude down by 5 mils. Good, and then I'll grab the same sketch and extrude it up and run a cut. So select the same areas, extrude up another 5 mil. It's -5. Point that onto what was there before. I can get rid of that sketch now. So I've pretty much just got a block. And now what I can do is get that roofing and the pole back in position. Cool, so I'll run my cuts now. So I've got upper dowel adapter, target body is that, tool body is this and this, keep tools. Cool, that's done. And I'll run it on the bottom. Combine cut, target body is that, tool body is this, keep the tools, and OK. Now I've got a little bit of material that I don't really need under here, but it might be useful to keep that flat. So, but either way, that'll be able to kind of lock in and glue in or do whatever I want it to do. It'll also keep this frame here exactly where I want it. If I needed to strengthen it, I'd probably push that out another millimetre and make that area a bit thicker. But yeah, that should be good to use. And now I can get all the other bits back and see how it looks. File's just gone, I'll just pause for a sec. Just reviewing the video, I realized that there was a big section that was missing, so I've just come back in to re-record that. So the model's finished, and the only thing really left to do is to show you how I made these pieces here. So this is all, they're all bodies as a part of the crown piece. So I've got a body here and a body here, which I think you can see in the video. But then, so I made those first, and then between here and here, I made a little, I made these parts here. So let me just go back and show you how I did it. And so if I isolate this component, it should take you through everything that I've done. So I made that plane, which you would have seen. I made that sketch, did this extrusion, another sketch, another extrusion, and then I made a plane. So this plane existed between 3 points, and the points are here, and they're the ones out on the edge here. So if I go body 3, there were 2 points on the edge of this frame. And so to do that, I went to construct and plane through 3 points. So I selected 1 point, and then just zooming right in here, 2 points, and then the third point was down here. And that's what made that plane, because I wanted to go from the direction from the edge outside here into the middle of this crown piece here. So from there, I drew from the side and made this sketch. Okay, so I had the crown piece here. I drew a box that was about the thickness of my material, and then I drew one line, and this one is an offset. So I just did the same line twice. So that exact line here to here, offset, that made this line. And then I did this as a spline, just connecting somewhere in the middle there. I added this little piece up here. So if I make body 1 disappear, I added this piece to the sketch, and also added this piece to the sketch here, like a little rebate, and then just pretty much cut across the top, so it should just kind of fit in that area. You might want to choose a different technique or just work it out on your own. And then I extruded that out to the thickness of the material. In your case, it'll be 19mm thick, and you can just leave it like that. That'll look absolutely fine. And then mirrored that and repeated that the same way I did with everything else. And I think that was it. So if you have any questions about that, you can come back to me. But yeah, that's pretty much how I did it. Then finally, what we'll do here is I made a sketch, a projected sketch on the outside here of this item. So I went to the side, went new sketch onto the side, and just projected that whole shape as a sketch, saved it, and that's what makes this sketch here, sketch 4. So then I went to sketch 4, export DXF, and I'm just going to save the projected geometry and go OK. That'll be sketch 4 in my downloads. It wasn't working for me the other day, this process.